Hello everyone, I'm GloryHoundd, and today I'm here with Thomas from Flyos Games, and we're going to be talking about Until Daylight on Kickstarter today. Hello Thomas, how are you doing? I'm doing well. So, what got you into board games?
Well, playing board games actually. It's always better to do something that you love, especially if you're struggling to make it work and to make it, to create a board game. It's got to be passion. So we're very deeply passionate about it. That's for sure.
Oh, that's awesome. So, you just, what was your favorite board game that you played? Like, is there a particular one that brought this inspiration on that you're like, I need to make a board game now?
It depends. It depends actually on. My answer would change depending on the age.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
when I was younger, it would be like basic, a board game. One of my favorite one, and I'm still playing. It's Yahtzee. Is that a board game though? Yes,
It's technically a board game. It is, and
but
lots of people use those mechanics. So,
it's mathematical. It's stats, and that's lovely to play around. Later, it was Catan, Zombicide, of course. Uh, um, but you know, I love that math, and it's so perfectly balanced. It's amazing.
hmm
That there is Dixit, of course. So yeah, there is a lot. That's the problem, actually. I cannot sustain that much passion.
that's awesome. Well, whenever you decided to start, so this is your second game that you've designed? That's awesome. And your first one you also did on Kickstarter, which funded and everything went through, which was amazing. And can you tell us a little bit about this new Kickstarter that you have, Until Daylight?
That's for sure. Until the Light is the second game that we've made with Flyos Games, and Flyos Games is my partner and associate Gary Petre and myself. But now there is so much more people involved. We have a scenarist, Lilian Klepakovsky. We've been working with a composer for the music, which is 100% original.
I saw
Uh,
that. That's amazing. I was like, oh my god, they have their own music. That's fantastic.
with José, our own illustrator, Benjamin, and his wife, Elsa. So yeah, we even have our translator, our official translator now, Elise. So yeah, we have a lot of people working on. They all love, of course, board games, and yeah, we've been live since I think it was in September. It was a month ago. I don't know. There is so much work. I'm struggling with
That's fine. That's fine. Well,
the hardest to just reconnect all the dates. I think.
what made you decide to go into this theme? Because I like that it's Until Daylight, because it kind of sounds like vampire zombie-ish, but like, what made you just decide to do this sort of theme?
Well, we everyone loves zombies.
hmm
All right, everyone loves it. Of course, it's a theme that is well known, and there is a lot of great game around it. But we wanted to give our own twist to it. So they are infected, not zombies. We build a universe around it. It's not just plain zombies like or trying to
Right.
grab you. There is much more to it. We've built the comics around it. There is an app with a live experience, very intense, and all the reviews agreed on that. It's very intense, and there is a cooperative aspect to it that is a nice twist. We try to basically make the game an experience with three different layers, a much more strategic approach compared to a first one, which was very much family friendly. So it's inventory management on the first layer. Then there is a combat strategy, and then the last layer is kind of a social dynamic between, because it's a cooperative game. But is it though? Yes and no. It's a nice twist, and there is always that kind of suspense and up and down, and every single game is different. And it's a very nice game. And I'm not saying that because I built it.
You're like, you know what? I built it, so this is an awesome game. But you know, it's pretty nice. It's pretty okay.
Well, I'm gonna tell you one thing. I've playtested the game with 60 different groups so far, and I've always tried to pick random players that are not, they don't look alike. Like I've been playing with some group. They were like, okay, you're not looking like the regular board game player at all, and they all had fun, and the critics and the reviews were great. And we've been playing with amateurs, with professional, with actually professional of the industry, and they all loved it. So you're like, okay, yeah, this is a solid gameplay. This is balanced now. So now we can go for the Kickstarter, and it ends in next
in 5 days. Yeah, I mean it's ending very soon. Yeah, I also really liked what you had mentioned about the social dynamic portion at the end, because that last little bit at the end, yeah, you're working together, but the leader, he's gonna get extra stuff, and like, I mean, it creates a little bit of that social animosity at the end, which fits perfectly with the theme of, you know, this is like zombies or infected people are happening, and it's everybody out for themselves. We're gonna help some people, but everybody out for themselves in the end, right?
Well, you gotta survive. If one of you dies, you're dead. But you'd be surprised how many game I saw crumble and fail because someone did something very selfish at some and as the creators, when we were seeing that with my partner Gary, we were so happy about it, because yes, people are making their own life difficult. If you, for example,
that's the best. Yeah, they're making their own life difficult.
Exactly. Look, if you play The Last of Us, if you watch Walking Dead, you know that zombies, walker, or anyone, those infected are just in the way. They're just brainless people. They're just random hazard outside. But the real danger, they're the other humans. They're the tension between this group. And that's what we try to do in Until the Light. And if you ask me, yeah, we did it.
Yeah, no, you guys did an excellent job with that. That sold me at the end. There was having that social dynamic at the end, and I was like, okay, that makes this game for me. So what made you decide to do an app for this game, which is something that a lot of game companies don't do for their games? It's becoming a little bit more popular now, but it was interesting seeing a smaller game company go, hey, we're going to do an app for this game on their second game. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah, well, the thing is, we wanted to have kind of a hot potato mechanism where you pick cards and you don't know when the next wave of infected is going to fall on you. And to have that random thing, you need an app. We tried with, a buzzer that can randomly act between the period and the music. And we said, you know what, instead of paying that much money into thing, let's make an app. And yes, we know the old market is not completely ready for it, but there is an hourglass in it. So if you don't want it, if you don't have a smartphone, if you don't have battery, if you don't have data, if you don't have the opportunity to play it, that's fine. You can use the basic hourglass. Yeah, it's fine. But there is some original music in it. We've worked really hard to balance things out. So the maximum experience is with the app, but it's the same game. You're not forced to do it. It's better, it's improved, but you don't force players to play one specific way. You'd be surprised how you can write rules in a very specific way. And if you forget this part, everyone's going to jump on it and they're going to make their own. And that's
right.
The board game.
Well, I enjoy that you also put the timer in there, because you're right. Some people aren't going to want to play with the app, but the app sounds amazing because you have your personalized music in there for it that was composed for this specifically. And then I love games with that random timer in it where you're drawing cards, and especially in games like this, which are like a horror themed game, when you get that intensity of like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen next? Like, are they coming? Like, am I going to need to do things right now? That's fantastic.
You'd be surprised. Even me, I've been playing with 60 different groups. Enjoy the game. I'm still like, we're going to play live right after this interview on
That's right. You are on Board Game Revolution
And
community.
I'm excited to do it. I still love playing that game, and I've been working on it for around a year. So you know how it tends to be. You play, you do things, you improve. At some point, you just need a break. Who does love to play for or work on the one specific game for a big extended time? Well, I do. I love that game. I really do.
Well, it looks fantastic. I mean, the pledge levels are exactly where they should be with everything. I also love a lot of the stuff that you added in the Brute pack, where you get these like little panels, and I'll have to scroll down to show everybody. You can't see, but everybody else can see what I'm talking about. The character playmats and stuff. I love those because they give you recessed, like those are recessed, right? Where you can put your cards in there. Okay. So where you can put your cards in there. So that's the worst thing, is somebody bumps something or moves their hand and stuff flies everywhere, especially when you're handling equipment and stuff. With this here, it solves all of those problems. Like, that is gold for me right there. That's fantastic. So I'm really enjoying a lot of your add-ons that you have here with the posters and then the, you know, character playmats and stuff. That's fantastic. So what's your favorite part of this game? What makes you most excited about this game?
Well, as the creator, what I love is we gave the choice to our backers. It's a card game, so we wanted to strip everything that was not necessary to play the core base game, which is the Wanderer pack. It's $39 Canadian.
Right.
Our bet lower the shipping price as low as minimum. Same thing for the weight, the packages, to be affordable, so a lot of people can actually enjoy it. Because let's face it, there is a lot of Kickstarter that is about, you know, miniatures and stuff. It's very, very expensive, but what we wanted for this game is to have card games that you can play, and you don't need any other thing. That's why there is an hourglass. That's why all the playmat is not necessary, but it's not mandatory. But if you want, and if you are playing all the time at your place in your own home, and you don't need to move around things, you can be very comfortable with the deck holders. Everything is in one specific place. It's neat, it's clean, and it's injection mold. It's not.
Okay.
So we get the higher quality. We are going for the best quality on this. We're going for the best quality in terms of cards. They're laminated. Same thing for the music. We're not buying some music at $50 on SoundCloud or something. We made it composed. Everything from start to finish on this game has been specially designed for our backers to actually have the same experience, the best experience possible. We don't compromise on quality. It's not our main job, so we don't need to live off of it and make some, you know, adjustment, commercial issue. What we want is the best game possible that we've built and created, and that's what we did. And as a player, what I love about this game is that every single game is different. Yes, there is the same strategy. Yes, it's always the same technical, but you have to do with what you have. And if you have bad lemons, sometimes it's really hard.
Well, can you tell us a little bit about the comic book that you have too? Because that's really interesting. I've seen that with a couple of companies now, and I love the lore of going into games because I feel like that's really important in a heavily themed game like this, where, I mean, that's what you're shooting for. You're shooting for people to get nervous about the infected coming to get you, and this book of lore, basically this comic book, is a build off of that. So can you tell me a little bit about what's in that?
Well, the comic book, it's going to be the origin stories of our characters, actually, how they met, what they are, just to show their psychology out of it. The main goal of it is to see if the community actually loves it. Same for the app. You cannot force anyone to get it. That's why the Brood Pack has it all, because you don't want to peek and
right.
get everything. But if you just want the comics and you're interested in that, I won't force one pledge to have it. And if you want it, get it separately with the pledge manager after the campaign, and yeah, you're going to be able to get it. And this comic is our way to see, okay, is there a market for this? Is this what we can show to the community? Because when we created this game, everything is cohesive, is coherent. We wanted to have one universe. We didn't just create a game. we create a universe. Everything is completely clean and neat. That's why we work with Lilian Kleparkovsky to actually have some meaningful, everything is cohesive. And yeah, that's what we were aiming to do. That's why we can make a comic out of it, to see, okay, this is not only a simple game, there's a whole universe behind it, and we're excited to show it to you.
Well, and I love that, because then each different character, you get to learn a little bit about them, and you get to find one that you like, and you get to play every campaign and stuff, and that makes it, that's a big deal for me, at least, who likes heavily themed games like this. That's fantastic. Well, I'm super excited about your game here. Is there anything else that you want to let the audience know about your game?
Well, back it.
You're like, this game is awesome. Back this game.
Back this game Kickstarter until October 8th, so it's going to be next Monday. We have some stretch goals going live at the moment, and you can still help us out. There is some social stretch goal where you can all unlock an infected. The first one was the community actually going on Kickstarter Live and help us brainstorm and create one specific infected just for the Kickstarter version and the retail version. So we are trying to bring the community on this, and you still have time to be a part of that community. And yeah, there is also some contest.
Oh, okay.
Are on Facebook page, Twitter, and Instagram, and you basically explain how you would contaminate and infect your friends, saying, hey, if be a zombie, this is where I would bite you, or this is how it would happen. And if you're the lucky winner of that contest, you're gonna be drawn, illustrated as an infected, and included in the game.
Oh my gosh, that's so amazing.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's so fantastic.
And have a look at it. Let's just go have a look at our Kickstarter page. Feel free to contact us. We're here. We're real. Like, you can touch us.
Right, absolutely. If anybody has any comments that they want to ask, they can go ahead and post them up, and we'll answer comments for a few minutes. Jeff Stafford says that makes it great that the app is an improvement to the game and not necessarily a necessity for the game, which I 100% agree with him. I feel like you guys did everything right in this. You have only a couple of pledge tiers that I have to choose from, so I'm not like, oh my gosh, what do I need to choose? And then you have add-ons that I love that I can add on to the game if I want, or I can choose just the bigger pledge tier where I can get everything I could ever want in the game. The theme is amazing. The mechanics are very cool too. Did you want to talk a little bit more about the mechanics of the game too? Because you do have the different phases that you go through. Yeah.
Exactly. There is 10 rounds, and the goal of the game is to survive those 10 rounds and save one survivor. There is 5 survivor hidden inside the infected and the enemy cards, but you only need to save one. You can do whatever you want with the rest of them. And you can use them as experience points. But the thing is, you're gonna have 2 phases per round. One search phase when you're gonna have the app running, or the hourglass if you don't like app.
That's right.
And during that time, one after the other, you're gonna pick some robot cards and set next to actually explain to the next player that it's his turn to play. So one after the other, you're gonna pick some cards and try to have it as much as possible, right? Because you have a limited time and you don't know when it's gonna use that time easily, make it effective as possible. And at some point, the hourglass or the app is gonna stop. Yep. And one that was actually playing and didn't say next is gonna be the one to receive the order and the infected.
Oh no!
And the number gonna grow because it's a very simple math. It's the number of players that you're playing. It's 3 to 6 players. So imagine you're 4, and it's your first round. You're gonna make 4 players with 1 round, so it's 5. You're gonna have 5 infected. If you're round number 2, it's 4 plus 2. Third round, 4 plus 3.
Oh,
easy, right?
Okay.
But the last 3 rounds, they're gonna be something because it's gonna be well, imagine we're 8, and then 9 and 10 is going
Right?
to be 12, 13, and 14 infected.
Oh, wow. That
Again,
gets
it's going to be
crazy.
it is. So the combat phase, and the combat phase, one after the other, starting with the one interrupted by the end of the search phase, you're gonna fight. You're gonna fight. You're gonna use ammunition to be able to throw attack dices. One after the other, you're gonna try to spread them out, because there is you can disperse them with an aggro mechanism. So you try to survive, and you can be as tough as nails, but your group is going to be as tough as your weakest link. So make sure to save your friend, because during the game, you're going to have more and more point of experience. And if you have the most point of experience, you're going to be the leader. And the leader is going to have his advantage double, because each of our characters has an advantage and a drawback.
Okay.
So they're very, very specifically designed for one game. You can change characters all the time, but every single game can be different depending on how the infected is gonna come up. So every game is different, every game is intense, and you have to play strategically and as a team. So it's a very, very interesting game.
Let's see here. We have from Jeff Stafford, with building this into its own world, what other plans do you have to expand this universe?
Well, you just said it. You just expand, and yeah, we have some expansion lined up. I cannot specifically say, because I don't want to say something. And
Right.
I don't want to lie. Yes, we're thinking about more expansion, 2 in particular, and it's a universe that we're building, and that it's a long-term thing. We're not just, making something and hop, it's over. It's the same thing for our first game, Kiwetzin. There is some stuff lined up. There is other licenses. There is other game. We are here to endure and to play the long-term game of Kickstarter and the board game industry, and we love it. It's a very fine hobby. This is something that you can come up with friends, have a chat, have some fun, and if you actually look how much you pay for a board game and how many time you play and the number of hours and fun you have, it's one of the cheapest and best hobby you can have. So we try to make it as worthwhile as possible and to be as efficient as possible. That's why a Wanderer pack is, well, cheap.
Right. No, the price point is amazing on it. Well, I really appreciate you joining me here today. Thank you so much for talking about your game. Make sure to check out Until Daylight on Kickstarter. If you guys are interested more in the mechanics of the game, the rule book is downloadable, so you can go on there and download the rule book. And this has only got 5 more days left, guys, so go on the Kickstarter.